Peter Avalon Northstar, founder of The Divorce CEO. Today I want to talk about the decision to getting divorced. This is something that I don't take lightly, and you shouldn't either, because this is actually the biggest decision you will probably ever make in your life. So the reason I want to do these video series is to give you or offer you a different perspective, but also my story on how I came to making my decision. Now, there's different phases and different stages of the divorce process. So the actual making the decision phase is one of the most critical phases and is one of the reasons why I want to touch briefly on it today. We'll do more videos and talk more about this. The pre-stage, which leads up to the decision, can take a long time as well. For me, it took about 4 years from when I started noticing that things were not doing well in my marriage to actually getting to the point where I was like, okay, this is not working. This has to change. And the way that I chose to change was essentially to go through divorce. Now, going through the divorce and making that decision is not easy. And it is something that for me was by far the hardest decision I've ever had to make. Because I wanted the relationship to work. I wanted the marriage to work. I did, at the time, I felt I did everything that I could to move us to a better place. But it's hard when you don't work together as a couple, as a team, but you work as friends and roommates. And that's what we had become. We had become roommates. We had gotten to a point where our marriage was basically two people living in the same household, sleeping in the same bed, yet there was no intimacy, there was no physical contact. It was just work. It was basically just work. And even though that I had this vision that we could fix it, I had this idea that it was possible to solve all of our problems, the biggest challenge was that I was living in a fantasy world. I was living in a fantasy that I could, if I just did X, Y, and Z, then she would see how amazing I was, and then she would automatically change, and all of a sudden we would fix this, right? But that was not the reality of it. And I personally think that she actually emotionally left the relationship long before that I ever did. And it's hard when a woman leaves the relationship before the man in that sense, because it's very hard for her to come back into that relationship. Some do, and some never come back. So for me, it was a challenge that it didn't matter what I did. I would go to all these seminars and learn about relationship, learn about communication, becoming a better husband. I would read tons of books. I would do certification, you name it, and I would do it. If somebody would tell me this is the red pill that will fix your marriage, I would do it. There was nothing holding me back. I was on a mission for those 4 years before we filed for divorce, that I wanted to fix this relationship. I wanted to save our marriage. So making that decision is not an easy decision. So if you're out there and you're sitting at that point where you don't know, should I do it or shouldn't I do it? Or you're just confused in terms of, your relationship in general, in terms of, okay, my wife is being disconnected to me. I am putting all my effort into my work. I am sedating and starting to drink. I'm going down a pathway that is not productive for myself and for the marriage. Comment, send me a private message. Let's connect, because I'm here to help support you. I'm sharing my story and my heart because I know how it feels to be a man in a marriage and feel fucking alone. Alone. I was alone for the longest time in my marriage, and I felt alone after I got divorced. It is horrible. So if you're sitting on the other side of this screen and you feel the need for some support, just reach out. The easiest thing and the hardest thing is to ask for help. So I'll leave you that. If you feel that this video, if you know somebody that this would help, please share it. Drop a comment below. I'm going to be doing way more videos in the future. So I hope this was a little teaser for what's to come.